Welcome to the R video tutorial on working with data part 2. In this data tutorial, you'll learn how to do a little more advanced work with data sets in R. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is get started. So what I typically do is read in some data. And if you don't know how to read in some data, please watch the video tutorial on reading in data. Okay, so here I'm going to read in some data and I'm going to select it and then I'm going to submit it to the console. All right, so here's my data set. Okay, this data set has to do with some oyster stuff. It doesn't really matter, it's just data. So anyway, this is the data set and has a variety of columns and rows. Now, one of the things you might want to do is what's called an if-else statement. Suppose you're interested in classifying something as high or low, high, low, medium. In order to do this, you can use what's called an if-else statement. In this case, CHLA is chlorophyll A. Now, in my if-else statement here that I'm going to highlight, I have if-else is the statement. I have the column that I'm interested in. It's in data 1, CHLA, and the condition I'm interested in. It's greater than 100. Then I put a comma, and the second argument is what to do if that argument is true. So if the chlorophyll A is above 100, what do I put in this variable? And if not, that's the second argument. If not, put low. If it's true, put H for high. All right, so what I'm going to do is highlight this and submit it to the console to see what it does. All right, so here I have a vector, basically, of H and L, and wherever there was an NA, there was no data, it puts an NA as well, so those transfer along through the if-else statement. Now, this isn't too useful by itself, maybe. Maybe you would like to actually attach it back to your data set so that all of your data is in one place. And to do that, you can use what's called cbind. And what that does is it binds the data together on the columns. That's what the C stands for. So if I come down here and do this, and submit this to the console, you'll see that it will create a new data set that has the old data set in it, as well as the new column of high and low for chlorophyll A. All right, now notice that over here, it's set up a little funny. All I see are L's and H's and NA's, but it actually did attach it to the data set. Because if I scroll up, you'll see that because of the display width, it moved that column down to the next set of rows. That's what R will do. However, the data is actually there. Now, another thing you might want to do is create a sequence. And a sequence is a set of numbers that are just a set of numbers that are ordered in some way. So in this case, I'm going to use sequence to be numbers that go between two numbers. So I want it to fill in numbers between two numbers. So in order to create a sequence, I'm going to use this statement SEQ, which stands for sequence. The first number is where to start. So here I'm starting at 0, and then I'm going to go to 10. Now, if I don't say anything else, it's just going to give me a set of numbers that will go from 0 to 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But here I can put in an additional statement on how I want it to count up to that. So here I'm saying I want it to go by 0.025. So I want it to go by quarters. So let's see what this does. I'll submit this to the console. All right, and I get a sequence here of numbers that start at 0, go up to 10, and notice that they're counted off by quarters. So I go from 0 to 0.025 to 0.5 to 0.075 to 1 to 1.25, and so on all the way up to 10. Now, that's useful for various things. Another thing that you might want to do is just create a vector that's a repeat. All it does is have the same numbers in it so many times. And in order to do that, you can use this function called REP. I call it repeat. I don't know what it actually stands for, but you could look it up in the help if you wanted to. All right, so what you're going to tell it to do, the arguments are what number or letter, I can put letters in here if I put quotations around it, do I want to repeat? And then the second argument is how many times to repeat it. So what we can do is we can do this. This should give me a vector of 1s, or a vector that has 10 1s in it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to submit this to the console. And sure enough, what do I get? I get a vector of 10 1s, which is exactly what I wanted. All right, so this has been Working with Data Part 2. If you have any questions, please ask or watch the next video.